For thousands of years, the Chinese have believed that the moment you are born shapes the entire arc of your life. Not your star sign, not your personality. The precise elemental forces in motion at the exact second you took your first breath. I am Mr. Shu. I read those forces for a living. On this channel, I take the classical system of BaZi and apply it to the questions people are actually asking: career decisions, relationships, whether the difficulty you are experiencing right now is temporary or structural, whether the opportunity in front of you is real or a distraction. No vague monthly forecasts, no items to purchase, just the system applied honestly. Today we are looking at 3 real birth charts, 3 people born within a year of each other, and asking one question: are some people just born luckier than others? Let us find out. I've been reading birth charts for a long time, and one question comes up more than any other. Why do some people seem to have life on easy mode, born into money, end up in the right place at the right time, meet the right people without even trying, and everything just clicks? Is that luck, good instincts, or is it something that was written long before any of those things happened? I recently analyzed 3 birth charts, 3 people born within roughly a year of each other, same generation, same country, completely different trajectories. What the charts showed was difficult to dismiss. Here is the quick version of what BaZi is before we get into it. BaZi is a classical Chinese system that converts your birth date into a chart. That chart shows your elemental makeup, your personality structure, your wealth pattern, and how your luck is likely to unfold across the different decades of your life. Think of it less like a horoscope and more like a structural blueprint. It does not tell you exactly what will happen. It tells you the conditions you are working within. When I laid these 3 blueprints side by side, the differences were striking. Let me walk you through them. The first chart belongs to someone I will call Person A, born in 2002. From the outside, this person appears to move through life with an unusual degree of ease, born into comfortable circumstances, during a period of compulsory service, placed into a field that happened to become one of the most sought-after skills in the world just 2 years later. At university, formed a connection with someone well-positioned, and that relationship opened a significant career door. To most people observing from outside, this looks like a series of fortunate coincidences. The chart tells a different story. Person A has what practitioners call a food God produces wealth structure. Without going into the full mechanics, what this means practically is that the chart is designed to generate wealth through skilled output, consistently and over a sustained period. The wealth is rooted in multiple positions across the chart, which makes it stable rather than temporary. What stood out immediately was this: the wealth star in this chart sits in the family position, the part of the chart that represents origin and ancestry. Being born into financial comfort is not circumstantial for Person A, it is structurally embedded. And then there is something called the Fuyin pattern. 2 of this person's pillars are identical, mirrored exactly. Classically, this creates an environment that draws in similar energy: well-resourced people, well-connected people. The right person appearing at the right time is not random when the chart is literally configured to attract that kind of proximity. Now, before you conclude that Person A simply has an exceptional chart with no downside, there is a cost. The same mirroring pattern that draws in favorable people also creates a quiet internal restlessness, a persistent feeling that nothing is ever quite enough. Practitioners describe it as hidden flatness behind visible success. And because difficulty has rarely been necessary, the resilience that only develops through genuine adversity has not been tested. That is the trade. The second chart is the one I found most instructive to analyze. Person B, also born in 2001, has a chart that on the surface looks similarly strong to person A. Oh, same day? Master element, actually, both Earth. But the structure could not be more different. Where person A's chart flows, person B's chart pushes, there is something called the 7 killing star sitting prominently in this chart. 7 killings represents pressure intensity, the kind of drive that does not switch off. For someone with a strong foundation like person B, this energy becomes fuel rather than damage. Sitting alongside it is the eating God star, which channels and controls that pressure into productive output. The structure that creates is called eating God controls 7 killings. It is one of the more respected formations in classical practice. What it means practically is that the harder the challenge, the more this person produces. Pressure converts into work. Difficulty sharpens rather than breaks. Not comfortable wiring, but effective. Now here is the critical difference from person A. Person B's wealth structure is strong and deeply rooted, meaning it is built to hold once it arrives. But the timing is the issue. The current decade in this chart is what practitioners call the furnace period, a time of building, testing, and refinement. The conditions are demanding. The wealth structure is being stressed before it settles. Then, from the late 20s going into the 30s, the chart shifts. The conditions change. The accumulation begins and continues through the following decades. When I presented this reading, the immediate reaction was frustration. Person A's window is open right now. Person B is still in the furnace. But here is what I think matters more than the timing comparison. The wealth person B builds from the late 20s onwards comes entirely through their own skill and output, not inherited, not arranged by our proximity to the right people, earned. And the structure is specifically designed to hold once built, because the person doing the building was tested in the process. Person A moved into a house that was already furnished. Person B is building theirs. Both can be exceptional houses, but only one person knows exactly what went into every wall. The third chart belongs to someone born in early 2002. I want to note something before we look at it. This person was born on the exact day the Chinese solar year transitions, what we call Li Chun, the start of spring. Born before that precise moment, the year pillar falls under the previous year's energy, a small detail that significantly changes the chart. The day master here is weak, surrounded by elements that drain it rather than support it. In BaZi, a weekday master is not a ceiling, but it does mean the person operates under greater pressure than someone with a strong foundation. External demands hit harder. Energy depletes faster, and whatever wealth exists in the chart requires more structural support to hold. What I found interesting in this chart is a pattern where the structures designed to support this person keep working against their natural expression instead. Family, institutions, authority, all likely well-intentioned. But the chart shows a recurring interference with this person's independent talent finding its proper outlet. The current decade is the most demanding in the entire chart. The elemental configuration is actively draining the Daymaster. This person is working hard. The returns feel disproportionate to the effort being put in. But the chart turns. Around the late 30s to 40s, three elements in the chart align to form what practitioners call a metal frame. When this completes, the foundation that has been insufficient for decades is suddenly and substantially reinforced. And in that same period, the natural talent that has been suppressed finally has room to run without interference. Person C's story is the longest slow burn of the three. The real window does not open until closer to 40, but it opens. So, back to the original question. Are some people just born luckier? In terms of structural starting conditions, yes. Person A's chart provides an easier early game than Person B's. Person B's provides an easier path than Person C's. The system does not pretend otherwise, and neither will I. But what I find more useful than the fairness question is this observation. Each chart is optimized for something different. Person A's chart is optimized for sustained access and consistent resources. Things flow in. The cost is that quiet restlessness and a resilience that has never genuinely been tested. Person B's chart is optimized for durable earned achievement through pressure and breakthrough. The cost is a difficult entry. The benefit is that what gets built holds, because the person who built it was tested in the process. Person C's chart is optimized for a late but genuine flowering. The suppression that characterizes the early decades is not the ceiling. It is the pressure that eventually forces a real foundation. When the chart opens, it opens without interference. None of these is the best chart. They are different lives with different shapes and different timelines. The most practical thing BaZi offers is not a prediction. It is a clearer sense of what kind of conditions you are actually operating in, so you can stop measuring yourself against someone else's timeline and start making better decisions within your own. Person A is not ahead of Person B or Person C. They are simply running different races at different paces toward a different finishing lines. If you are curious about your own chart, drop your birth year and month in the comments. I will cover common patterns and structures in upcoming videos. And if you want to go deeper on any of what was discussed today, the 7 killings pattern, how wealth timing works across luck decades, or what a weak Daymaster actually means for someone's life, those are all coming. See you in the next one.